around for a long time, but principally I was a teacher in secondary school here. I had a lot of student teachers from Nipissing University, and I taught at Canadore in their Art Experience program. But I'm mainly an artist a multimedia artist. I work in clay, fiberglass, sculptures, video, painting, printmaking, the whole shot. So it's kind of fun. It keeps me busy. I think an artist, in my case certainly, should point out inequities in society, both good and bad. I think for me that's a very hard question, because artists approach, well, certainly the visual arts very, very differently. Some people want to bring out the aesthetics of things. Me, I want to bring out, for example, I'm doing a series right now called The Infinity Stream, where there's a repeat of the infinity symbol in very different ways. And I'm trying to comment on the fact that things keep seemingly changing, but they keep repeating things, and people don't seem to learn from mistakes. So that's kind of my purpose in some of my art, as well as showing the power and the beauty of things. Next year I'm going to have an exhibition, and it's called David Carlin 50 Years in the Hole. And I call my studio The Hole because it's so bizarre. And I graduated from the Canadore College of Art in 1967, so it's been 50 years as a professional artist. And I studied in Mexico in 1968 as well, so I've been around for a while. My character does play into my art a lot, especially when I'm painting. You know, I start to get excited. When I'm doing something other than art, I'm always very pensive and thinking about it and pre-planning. Certainly being a teacher for 28 years, I'm always thinking ahead. And that perhaps may be a problem, because I'm thinking too much ahead and not paying enough attention at the moment. But it's the same in painting. You start to think what you're going to do further on rather than what you're doing now. But once you get involved in it, I become very excited. I do have creative blocks, and sometimes they last for a week or 2 weeks, sometimes they last for a long time. But I force myself to work, even if I don't like it. It's like a job in many ways. It is a job, actually. It's a profession. But oftentimes I face a creative block and I have to force myself to work. North Bay did affect me in a way, because in several ways. I used to draw fictitious maps when we were down in Huntsville. And they were kind of based on fantasy, like Tolkien and so on, and the Huntsville area and all the lakes. But I think the landscape here and the spirituality in the legends that are here, the landscape, were all heavy-duty influences on me. Many people have called my work spiritual, and I think that's from being in the landscape around North Bay and seeing fish like the sturgeon, you know, which are been around for a long, long time and an ancient fish. So there's a lot of history too. There's a history of tragedy, a history of war. I've always drawn cars and planes, buildings when I was a kid. I still do it the odd time, but I was going to go to the Canadore College of Art as an industrial designer. My parents were so proud of me. Oh, my son is going to be a a designer in California in a studio and design cars and so on. And I found that I happened to like drawing and painting and the fine arts. And a couple of my professors at the time said, "David, what are you going to do next year?" And they suggested I go into drawing and painting. You may as well approach everything as though it's, an adventure, because you never know when you're not going to be here. So you have to move on and do interesting, not be afraid of doing interesting things, not afraid of facing challenges. Because if you don't face those challenges at that particular moment, you could be somewhere else. You could not even be here the next day, or 2 days later, or the year later, and you've never done that. And that can be very, very frustrating, to look back on your life and saying, "I wish I had done that."